Hey guys, Chapow here, back with another Destiny video for you guys. Yes, I've started playing Destiny again. Now, I really only re-downloaded Destiny for this video, which as you can tell by the title is a Destiny 2 wish list. It's pretty much just the things that I would like to see in Destiny 2 that weren't in Destiny 1, or at least might have been in Destiny 1, but not the way that I would prefer them to be. Now, obviously this is subjective, so you might disagree and whatever, and you might also not give a fuck that I'm playing Destiny, which I know Charlie and Troy and pretty much all of my friends don't, but I'm just playing it because I'm actually starting to enjoy it again now. Just my favourite thing always used to just be doing strikes, and that's all I've been doing. I literally just got a strike gameplay just for this video, but now I'm actually starting to enjoy it, so I might start playing it a little bit more when they're off doing other things like UFC or FIFA. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the top 5. So for point number 5, I have said we need to have a compelling storyline in Destiny 2, or just a good storyline, because you probably know if you played it, vanilla Destiny 1 storyline really isn't that good. It's actually quite shit, if I'm being honest. Like, the voice acting was a bit bad, there was lots of cliches, the storyline wasn't really that interesting or easy to follow, and that turned off a lot of people who'd been hyping up the game for years since it's been announced. It turned them off like right from the start, and they weren't interested in the game anymore. And it like damaged the community right as soon as the game was released, and properly fucked up the game's progression, in my opinion. So if they'd just done a good storyline like they did in Rise of Iron, Wrath of the Machine, and Taken King and things like that, but if that was like a full game, like they're doing with Destiny 2, obviously it's a full brand new game where it's not just a few story missions like an expansion, it's a full, proper, like vanilla Destiny, a full-on story mode, which is crucial. It is crucial that they make a good storyline. Because if it's just boring and no one's interested in it, it's going to suffer the same fate as Destiny 1. Destiny 1, for me, vanilla Destiny, it felt a lot like just sort of an introduction to all your enemies. So like you spawned in on Earth, it was like, oh, here's the Fallen. You went to Moon, oh, here's Moon aliens, the Hive. You went to Venus and Mars, oh, here's some massive Martian death, absolute tanky war machines, and here's some robots who can time travel. It was not very good. It was just sort of like, here they are, here they are, here they are, here they are. And there was so many cliche like voice lines and things. Like, oh, what was that one that the stranger said? I can't remember it, but she has one which is full on dog shit, and it actually like made me fully cringe the first time I heard it, even though I was only like 14. I still cringed when I was 14. That is how bad the storyline was. So they need to get it right in Destiny 2 so that they can have a strong start, and then expansions in the future can keep the game progressing and progressing and progressing. Now on to the next point. And for point number 4, I have put something that is crucial. Like, all of these are quite important in my eyes, but this is probably one of the most important, and I think it's the only PvP one that I've actually put in this game. Now, in this wishlist, sorry, not game. And that is dedicated PvP servers. Now, if you don't know, in Destiny 1, there weren't dedicated servers. It was sort of just like host. So because you were working on one person's host, that could obviously mean that if they had bad internet, then the entire game was going to lag for everybody else, and it would be the absolute shittest. Laggy Crucible is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's probably worse because there's so many different weapons that can kill you. So if you're playing Crucible to see what weapons are good, and you get lag insta-killed by like a really shit weapon, you're going to think, oh, that's a good weapon. You use it, it's shit, it'll get you angry at the game. Things like that. It can cause little minor things like that that can just piss you off. And it wouldn't just be insta-kills like with lag. It'd be things like people teleporting around so they're impossible to hit. People like not dying as soon as you kill them, and then people using the supers twice and shit like that. It was like weird little things because they didn't have dedicated servers, so you were working on someone else's host, and because they had bad internet, it fucked up the entire game and made it unfun. The only one I remember, the worst case of lag that I remember, right, is I was playing Iron Banner. It was on some Earth map, I think it was Sector 618, alright, and it was at one of the spawns, the spawn that has like the little downward step bit that you spawn, and as soon as you spawn, you run up small set of steps, and then you go across. Not the outside spawn, the inside one, if you understand what I mean. So I ran, shotgunned a guy. Didn't give me the kill, so I shotgunned him again, and then started running away because I was like, oh, his body isn't there anymore. So he must have been dead. I mustn't have just got the kill. He must have just been killed just before I got it, and it was just a slight bit of lag, you know, just a tiny little bit of lag. I then proceeded to run around the map, so I was basically scouting the outside outline of the map to, you know, get any kills and just mop up anyone who was struggling on the outsides. So I run around the map. I've done an entire lap at this point, and then I run down the line that I first started running down, so 1.25 laps of the map of the outside. It comes up saying that I've just killed him. And I was fucking confused as all. I was like, whoa, where have I just got this kill from? Then I realised I got the guy who I killed a lap ago, and it's only just registered it now. Are you taking the piss, lag? You are seriously gonna lag me so bad that it takes over a minute to register a kill that I got. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous, and that is why we need dedicated PvP servers, at least. Just PvP. If there's anything else they add, like, if they could add fucking dedicated strike plate like servers, and I wouldn't care. But if we don't get dedicated PvP servers, then Crucible could be just as annoying with lag as it was in Destiny 1. Now for the third point in this list, I have put less ways to reach max or harder to reach max. Now, in vanilla Destiny, there was one way to reach max light level, and that was doing the Vault of Glass, the raid. Now, obviously, people might not enjoy doing the raids. Like me personally, I don't really like doing the raids, so they kind of expanded on that and made it so you could get it in more and more things. And then when it got to Rise of Iron, they basically just made it so easy to get to max light that it was ridiculous. You could get it from exotic engrams, you could even get exotics from rare engrams, you could do it through strikes, you could do it through Crucible, you could do it through Iron Banner, you could do it in so many different ways without doing the raid that it was easy as to get to max light. Like me, I haven't done the Wrath of the Machine raid, yet I'm 400 light, and I was 400 light like 8 months ago and I stopped playing it. On all characters. Do you know how mad that is? That I've never done the raid, and I'm still max light 8 months ago, and I stopped playing it. So I got to max light in about 5 months, 5 or 6 months after Wrath of the Machine, Rise of Iron was released, and I already got to max light 8 months ago. So it made it so easy that it was practically pointless playing. So what they need to do is they need to find a medium. Like, I didn't like it in vanilla Destiny where you had to do the raid, but I also didn't like it in the third year of Destiny where you could do it by doing practically anything that you would do on a daily basis. So please find sort of a happy medium between that. So let's move on to the next point. Alright, so next on the list, guys, is number 2. This list isn't in any particular order, by the way. It's just sort of the 5 things that I want to see in Destiny. But this one is regular balance changes. Now, what I mean by this is that it should learn from games like Clash Royale and Overwatch. They're 2 great examples of games that keep on doing updates and keep on changing. I don't mean content-wise. I just mean sort of like patches on different things, like buffing and nerfing. Basically, they need to do more buffs and nerfs on things more regularly, because with Overwatch you'd get a buff or a nerf for quite a few characters quite regularly. About every 2 to 3 months there'll be a decent sized nerf or a decent sized buff that makes bad characters good and OP characters less OP and more usable with all the other characters in the game. Like Rodog's hook, for example, originally it could hook through walls, they made it so it couldn't. Then now they're making it so that it's not a one shot. So they just make a change and it makes it so you have to either change your main, get a new main, or just like fully change the way that you play that hero. Clash Royale, they make it so that they do slight changes to the cards every 2 to 3 months, so quite regular as well, but they make it so that you have to like keep on changing your deck. You have to find new OP cards that you can use. It's just a constant switch in the meta. That's what I want to get across with this, is that they need to continuously try and change the meta. They don't need to make it so one class is the meta. They need to make it so that certain weapons are the meta. Like Last Word, that's been the meta for years, and at a time Grasp of Malok and what's the Iron Banner one, I can't remember what it's called, but those were like the meta for so long, and Doctrine of Passing was the meta for so long because they didn't change it. They need to change the meta more, or it's just going to keep on getting boring, because if you have to keep on using the same really good, really OP guns, it's just going to get really, really boring. Like for me, I was using the Grasp of Malok and Doctrine of Passing for like almost a year each, because they just didn't change how OP they were. And then as soon as they did, they made them unusable, which is good because I had to change. And then it just made the game feel more fun when I was using a totally different weapon. So for me, Destiny 2 needs to have more regular balance changes and buffs and nerfs to actually make it so that you're not using the same things over and over and over again. Now on to the final point. Alright, so the final point I want to make on this list, the final suggestion and wish that I have for Destiny 2 is something I've called mini raids. Now, people really like the raids. I don't really like the raids. They're fun, the storylines are good, you get really good loot for them, but the thing that I hate the most is how long they take. They take the absolute piss most of the time, unless you have a team, like a dedicated team that you always do your raids with. But if you don't have them, then you have to go on the LFGs, you have to find a team, they're a shit team, you find another team, they're a shit team, you find another team, they're a shit team, you find another team, they're a good team, you get halfway through the raid, Cameron! Dinner! You then need to go downstairs, you need to leave the team, you need to eat your dinner, come back, you then need to find another LFG team, they're a shit one, you then find another shit one, you then find another shit one, you find another good one, then you get to the last, final boss of the raid, so you're there, you shoot in Oryx, you fail once. 2 people rage quit. And then you're like, oh shit, I have to find 2 more people. You find 2 more people, but by the time that you found 2 more people have already left from your raid team, and at that point you just fucking give up, and then you're like, I'll try it again tomorrow. Same thing happens tomorrow, and then you don't get the raid done until you eventually get lucky enough to find someone who has Oryx final checkpoint, or Crota final checkpoint, and you get it done, and then it's a huge sigh of relief. But I don't want that fucking build up beforehand. I don't want to be spending 3 days out of my life trying to complete one raid. That is why I want mini raids, but I feel like they might be doing something similar to this with the null sectors they're adding in. Now, if you don't know what the null sectors are, it's basically like a cave or a hideout that a high profile enemy is basically like hiding out in. So you need to then go in there and kill them and get their hideout and just flush them out of there. Now, I feel as if they're going to make these either the length of strikes or shorter. Now, that's not what I want. I want them to make them like full-on 35-minute to hour-long experiences where you proper feel like you're almost being stealthy in a way, and you can just like destroy them, and it takes a little bit of time, but not as long as raids that take like an hour and a half minimum, or a strike that takes 15-minute maximum. I want them to be somewhere in the middle, so you can invest like 45 minutes on average on something like this, and you feel proper good after. You get the rush of completing a strike and a raid, but sort of like, it's just something new in it. It's just something new, these null sectors. But if they're very short, I don't feel as if there's going to be much of a payoff, and I don't really think many people will do them if they just sort of throwaway things. So they've got to make them like proper important storyline driven things. That goes back to the first point about storyline. They need to find a way to integrate these into a storyline, and then these possibly have the potential to be some of the best things, for me personally, in the entire game. So anyway guys, leave a like, leave a comment if you are hyped for Destiny 2. Me personally, the hype is through the fucking roof, and apparently a beta date's been released, not a date, but like, it's been announced for next month. I'm pre-ordering this shit. I am getting the closed beta, then I'm going to play the open beta, probably with Troy, hopefully, because he's one person who said isn't getting it, but I'll be playing with like Troy and Hamza and Charlie, and there'll be videos on that. But anyway guys, if you have enjoyed that video, then please press that like button and that subscribe button, and go do the same to the rest of the Chapow crew. Their names will be in the description down below. and I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.